Hey, movie lovers. You can enjoy Real Nerds Podcast in many ways. You can go to our website, realnerdspodcast.com. There you'll find articles and the podcast. You can go to our YouTube channel, and you will see the Real Nerds Pod Show. We're also on Blue Sky. Hey, did you know Facebook is still a thing for people? Yep, we're on there too. We are also on Threads. There are many ways to interact with us. All our film adventures are posted on Instagram. If you have a social media account, you can find the Real Nerds Podcast.
Camera, action!
Well, a real nerd knows who shot, and a real nerd can follow the plot, and a real nerd can...
talk film! I'm sorry.
Take it outside.
Well, a real nerd knows who shot, and a real nerd can follow the plot, and a real nerd will give it all they got. Lights, camera, action! Real nerds.
Hey, all you crazy Real Nerds fans. Welcome to another edition of Real Nerds Podcast. On this episode, we have the power. I just thought I'd get that out of the way real fast. I am Ryan. I am joined by Brad.
Yep, I'm here.
Zach.
What's going on?
And all the way from the Bayou down to New Orleans, Adam Santino. Welcome back to the show.
I'm technically the suburbs, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. Thank you for having me.
Well, here's a funny story. Today I went golfing, and when I was done, I went with my wife to this local brewery, and outside it was Cajun Louisiana food, and my son got alligator bites, and I said it was meant to be that we were on the podcast together.
They guarantee they're good.
Yeah.
I would never eat that. I always tell people I am the worst New Orleans person in the world. I have a book which I'm partially here to promote about my time in Disney and when I worked there, and I had to go through this rigmarole where every time I would meet someone, they ask you where you're from because everyone's from a different part of the country or the world, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm from New Orleans. And they would get this look on their face like it was Christmas and they're meeting Santa. And I would have to put my hands up like, stop. I hate everything you're about to say. I don't eat gumbo. I hate Mardi Gras. Like I am the worst. And it is, there's a reason I'm single. I've disappointed so many people, especially women, men too, but not for, I shouldn't have gone in that direction. But, But again, I appreciate the enthusiasm.
You got it. Yeah, so you kind of already mentioned it. You are an author, photographer, artist extraordinaire, and you've written a couple books. And also, just because I'm going to chime in here, my son loves hurricanes, and he studies Katrina all the time. And tell us about Six Flags New Orleans, and he loves your photos from there. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I've briefly met your son, and when you said he loves hurricanes, I thought you were talking about the drink for a second.
Oh.
And I was like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah, he goes on benders.
So your son is interested in like stories about hurricanes and stuff like
Correct.
that. Because down here, when we say we love hurricanes, it means, it didn't actually hit, but we still got school off when we were his age. Because New Orleans is a hurricane culture. It's actually partially the reason that Katrina had so many people stuck here during it. It wasn't because people didn't have the ability to leave. It was because every year there's like 2 or 3, like, oh, it's going to hit. And then like you take off of work or you go to a hotel, a few hours north or something like that. And then it doesn't happen. And you're like, ugh. And so eventually you just stop. And you're just like, it's not hitting. And then it hits. But you asked about Six Flags New Orleans. Yeah, I worked there. I never quite know how to put it. I was one of 2 photographers legally allowed there from 2023 to 2025, where it was demolished. Six Flags New Orleans, if people don't know, is the number 2 urban exploration place in the world, or it was before they demolished it. Number 1 is Chernobyl, which should tell you a lot. But it's I always call it the ghost of Katrina because it's what people think about when they think about Hurricane Katrina. Even though we didn't actually even get directly hit by Katrina, we just got like the flooding. Biloxi, Mississippi got hit dead on. That place was like wiped off the map for the most part. And but I spent 2 years there with photos and videos and documenting the place. And it's now 60 to 70% demolished. And I'm no longer allowed on property. I was asked to leave under threat of the police arriving the last time I was there.
So I just to talk about your photos of it, they're the way I describe them is they're hauntingly beautiful. I mean, my favorite one that you have is of the Mega Zeph, just because I don't know, there's something kind of calming about it, but at the same time eerie. You know, there's supposed to be people there.
Is it the night sky one?
Yeah, it's like kind of like dusk, I guess.
Yeah. So because the thing is, I'm sort of currently. I'm juggling like 4 projects, but I'm going through my images currently, and I have upwards of 1,000 photos, and but I've only put out a percentage, and like the actually really amazing stuff, no one's seen yet. I'm not ready to put it out, but yeah, when you mention like. And I'm not an urban explorer. That's a whole, if you're interested out there, and like there's a whole genre of like YouTube and photography where people go to places that have been destroyed and they explore the beauty of decay. The thing is, like, I never had a real connection to Six Flags New Orleans. I never went there when it was Jazzland. I went there a couple of times when it was Six Flags New Orleans because originally it was called Jazzland. It was a New Orleans themed theme park that was eventually it didn't do well because it's a regional park. I'm trying. Y'all don't really have anything like that out in Colorado, do you? Like any theme parks that are just
I mean, I guess we have our most famous one is Elitch Gardens, which is right next to where our hockey team and basketball team play. So what's unique about it is it's in Denver.
Yeah, there's also Lakeside.
Yeah, we have Lakeside, but that one's
but
not.
But they operate for like 3 months a year or something like that.
Correct.
Okay. Well, Denver's a little different because y'all are a main hub for the country as far as like traffic. But it basically didn't work, and Six Flags bought it, and it didn't really work under Six Flags either. Even though they brought in like the Batman roller coaster and all kinds of other things. And then Katrina came through, and everyone's seen. Well, everyone above a certain age has seen the pictures and the videos of it flooded out, and so Six Flags was able to gracefully bow out and get a giant insurance check. And then since then, for 20 years, because the 20-year anniversary of Katrina was August 2025 last year, and people have flocked there. A lot of them to do terrible things. Like I have a relationship with that park. It's home to me, and I had to watch it be demolished. I literally was like videotaping my childhood. Well, not literally, but figuratively, recording my childhood home being demolished every day for a year. It's not fun.
No, the devastation of what happened to the city is captured so eloquently in your photos because there is this sense of loss in your photos that I think people will have to go to your website, santinoart.com, to check it out because, you have the picture of the entrance and there's busted pillars and lights and things like that. And I think you captured the mood of what happened there so eloquently. And so completely. Just I don't know. There's just this longing to the photos there. Is that what you were trying to do, or did it just kind
I
of?
No, well, initially I was just there. I was working with another photographer that I had taken some of his workshops, and I had been laid off, so I was allowed to go in, and I was just like, I'd always, I like I said, I'd been to Six Flags New Orleans a couple times when it like 2003, 2004, and having worked at Disney, like it didn't compare, but
Yeah.
it had always been a place that like you pass it all the time. It's right off of the I-10, which is the longest interstate in the country. Um, and so like when he called me and was just like, "Hey, I'm going into Six Flags legally. I need an assistant." I was just like, "Oh, this will be a cool story." I was going to say tell my children one day, but I'm never going to have children. So, but this will be a cool, one of a million cool stories, but one of the better ones that I can tell people. And I didn't expect it to turn into anything. But as I spent more time there, it like I said, it became home. Like I've spent time in that park by myself with no one else there, and I didn't sneak in. I didn't, like this is all legal. And I'm told the look on my face when the Megazeth, which if you're a roller coaster fan, it was one of the last remaining like wooden roller coasters. But I'm told the look on my face was just like despair, So I
Mm.
think, whatever your passion is, like y'all do a movie podcast, which we're going to get to soon. Whatever your passion is, I think that comes out if you are truly passionate, regardless, like I don't know that I had any specific intent other than I'm a photographer. So I sort of see the world, in a certain way, because a lot of photography, when I do try to teach like basic photography when someone's interested, and it's the bottom line, it's about relearning how you see the world, because like every blade of grass tells a story if you know how to look at it. And and that's the thing, is a lot of people would look at Six Flags New Orleans as like, oh, it's a blight, and that's why the city sold it. So they're like, oh, it's a blight, and we're gonna have the Super Bowl, so we need to tear this down. It's just like, dude,
Mm.
this is a place that tells a story that will never be told again. And there's a way to actually, for the city to make money off of it, to retain it, to do all these amazing things. And unfortunately, the money people didn't really care and didn't really have any sort of vision. And it was, we fought a battle for 2 years that we did win some things. Not everything was demolished. We managed to keep a few things, but 70% of it like was wiped from the earth, which is
Mm.
interesting because when we went back that last time, where they escorted us off the property, we got to see, we had been going for like 3 months, and nature reclaimed it, like families of deer, and like, there were warthogs back there. I didn't know New Orleans had warthogs until I went to Six Flags New Orleans. um so it was really interesting.
That is interesting because you always see those post-apocalyptic films that always have that nature reclaims it, and you've actually experienced it. Is
Hmm.
is there a so if when you're the only one at a place like that, is there a calmness to it? You said despair, but when it over is it overwhelming? What is that like?
So I had two spots that were mine. They have it's still there. We managed to convince them to save it. The Big Easy Ferris wheel, um, which that the cars, except for Mardi Gras 2025, when we had gale force winds, the cars didn't move much. That particular day, the winds were so strong it actually pushed the entire wheel to do an entire revolution. It was pretty wild, but I would just go sit in the car and I would like play music on my phone, and it's again, like I worked in Walt Disney World, so I won't get into it here because I know I'm running my mouth a little too much about me, but I had moments like that at Disney, that where, whether it was true or not, at Disney, like there were moments where it felt like the entire park was there for me because nobody was around me while I was working and all this, and the lights and the music and that sort of thing. But in Six Flags, I actually did get moments to myself where I was just like, this is for me. This is something no one else will ever. Well, it's not true. There were a few other people who probably had it too, but that particular moment was just for me.
That's a really cool story, and obviously something that no one could ever replicate. But you made a great transition for me because I didn't have to do it. You also are a writer, and one of your books is called Earning My Ears: My Adventures in the Disney College Program. And as a big Disney fan, um, it's always fascinating to me, the Disney uh, machine, because it's not just showing up at the park and you like here at Elitch's at our theme park, it's some 16-year-old kid and he pushes a button. But for you, you actually had to go to a college and learn a trade, basically.
Um, Not exactly. So in theory, it's designed for Disney to foster the next generation of like hospitality college students. I was poli sci, political science. I'm sorry, political science. If you don't know, which is one of the most useless degree. Actually, most college degrees are useless, but it's in that
Especially
grouping.
now.
Yeah. But uh, so in theory, like they would take people who are involved in the hospitality industry and they would train them because, particularly back in 2002 when I went, Disney was considered the gold standard of customer service. A lot of the,
Mm.
I'm sure we've all worked customer service jobs where they're just like, well, we're just like Disney and we do this, which always makes me laugh because I'm like, yeah, I worked at Disney. That's not how this works, but okay. It's a nice line. And, but yeah, I was political science. I was kind of well, I don't want to get too depressing. I was going through some stuff in life and I didn't have any friends at the time. And I was just like, I'm going to go to Florida and, hopefully drive the monorail, which is what I did. Shockingly, and try to start my life over. And, so that's what I did, but it's basically an internship where they make you a lot of promises. Some are true, some are, kind of, fudging the lines there a little bit. Um, but it's a very hard experience. I think a lot of kids, especially these days, because kids don't seem to have jobs at the age of like 15, like we did back in the day. But I think a lot of kids go think like, oh, I'm just going to go hang out at the Disney parks, and you will. I've definitely like left my job, my shift, and just went like, I'm going to go hop on Space Mountain a couple of times. I've done that, but it is a real job and you have to pay rent and, and I think it's a great experience. You meet people from literally all over the world. I met one woman that I wasn't particularly fond of, but she married a guy from sub-Saharan Africa. I don't remember what part. I want to say it was Nigeria, but this was 20 years ago. I can't remember. Is Nigeria sub-Saharan Africa? I'm actually not sure. I think it is, but
I'll believe you if it is.
but I mean, and and I knew, I don't know why this is coming up, but I also knew, made some friends from South Africa, and no Europeans for whatever reason, but I, it's a once in a lifetime experience, and like your son when he gets to that age, if it's still around, I do encourage, like know that you're going to work, but you'll have. I had enough experiences to write a book about my time there. So,
And when did you decide that you were going to write a book there? And the stories, did you keep a journal or do you just remember them? And how did that work out?
a little bit of everything, honestly. Like when we left, I kind of knew in my head, I'm like, this would make a good, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm a stoner. I'm not. I've done weed a handful of times, always in Colorado because it's legal.
Yep.
Actually once in Tennessee illegally, but anyway, but it just occurred, you've seen all those sort of coming of age, and it's weird to say when you're 22, it's a coming of age story, but that's the best way to explain it. But like, I was like, this would make a great, like stoner sort of coming of age, can't hardly wait. So I don't know quite how to explain it, but this would make a great movie if I knew how to turn this into a movie, but there's too many moving parts. And I was told that I was a writer when I was a small child, which is how a lot of people become whatever they become. Like somebody's like, "Oh, you're an artist," and you're like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'm an artist," or whatever it is. You'll notice that when you tell children that he's going to end up in jail one day, a lot of them end up in jail. I wonder why. But so I did keep a journal that I stopped, I think, keeping track once things got a little hot and heavy. That makes it sound like I was getting some. Once things got more intense, I kind of stopped keeping track of it. But I did. It's actually how I became a photographer. Is I brought my mom's like point and shoot camera, and I was taking photos. And that particular camera would have a timestamp on it, because as you get older, like your brain does funny things with your memory, where you kind of combine different things and separate things that shouldn't be separated, and So I actually had to do like archaeology when I was writing the book to reconstruct my memory. It was a very weird, interesting process. And, but I've been told I'm a writer my whole life. And so like, I was like, if I can just figure out a way to end the story, which took me 17 years.
Wow.
The book went through, oh God, I'd say at least 30 versions and 100 revisions, more than that really. And it's only publishable because now we have access to self-publishing avenues that didn't exist 20 years ago. But it wouldn't be as funny. Like if you're interested at all, like I'll say this, you got to have a really dark sense of humor. I'm Generation X. It's not always like, it's definitely not politically correct. And I am very dark and very self-deprecating, but I'm very proud of the book. I think it's hilarious. I think it's the best thing I've ever done.
Nice.
And so how did you decide? I mean, I don't want you to tell me the ending, but how did you decide that that's the ending you were going for? Was it an epiphany, or is it just one day you woke up in a cold sweat and says, I have it now?
No, it's funny how life works. I was getting very slowly laid off from my job, and I was put in a position where they kind of stuck me upstairs until they figured out whether or not they were going to get rid of me. So I had all this time on my hands, and I was falling asleep at my desk, and I was just like, I'm just going to start writing. And the way the ending came about was I hate talking about her because it's been 5 years since I've seen her, but the love of my life had kind of decided she was done with me. And a year later, my best friend, who is in the book under a different name, he also kind of decided he was done with me. And so I started writing, I guess, because of all that. And it actually healed a lot of things in me. Like I sort of like created my own therapy. Which, y'all are y'all talk about movies, I guess. So it's a little different. When I podcasted, it was always like just talking about whatever we want to talk about. So I didn't really need therapy because I could something was bothering me. I'm very good on mic. I'm very good on stage, and I know how to, I don't do stand up. I have, but I don't. But I know how to work a bit, so I can take a story that's just kind of depressing and turn it into something kind of fun that people will laugh at. And I sort of did that with the book as well. Like the book is very self-deprecating. I don't pull any punches on myself. I take responsibility for, there was a roommate that I had that he and I did not get along well. And as I'm writing the book, I'm like, oh, he was gay. That's why he felt like, I realized, I was like, well, that's kind of messed up. Like, I feel bad for him now. He was an asshole, but like, that's what was going on,
Yeah.
And it's funny, if you read the book, you'll be like, of course he was gay, idiot. Like, like it's pretty obvious. Like, like, oh, it's like, I don't know. He was just some asshole who threatened me, in our room, and and I'm like, let's go. But
I think too. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think too, a lot of times humor does come from a place where you're either depressed or you're in a dark place, because that helps you see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think it makes it easier for everybody. I mean, for me personally too, I think being funny when it's not supposed to be as a coping mechanism that helps me get through whatever I'm going through.
Actually, I'd say a sense of humor is what keeps you from seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Meaning you don't kill yourself. Like, I mean, some of them do. Rob Williams, saw that light, but yeah, no, it's most of the I've heard some people say, oh, it's not true, but every person I know that's, whether they're funny or not, got into comedy, it's because like they lived through some stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to, there's only a certain number of ways you can cope with trauma. Some of it is to do things like, make a passion podcast about movies, things that you love. Some of it is to go down a dark route and destroy yourself, or, hopefully not, but some people destroy other people's lives. And some people are just like, look, it's going to get dark. I gotta, but my friend that, former best friend, we there's a story, it's not in the book, but I helped them bury their family dog. We had to dig a 6-foot hole in their backyard. And the dog, the last time they thought the dog died, it like just woke up and peed all over everything. I was like, this damn dog better be dead. Cause, it's like, if it's not, like after 3 feet in New Orleans sun, like he's getting buried one way or the other. But like that gallows humor, I think it's, if you're not somebody with that sort of sense of humor, and you see somebody, you're like, why are they so dark? They probably lived through some stuff, man.
Yeah. Fair. So did Disney lose the magic for you after you left there? Is there still magic to be had?
It didn't until I was actually, funny you mentioned that. I'm about to make a video because I got to figure out ways to promote my stuff, and I'm about to make a video talking about, like, the last time I went to Disney was 7 years ago in 2019, and I hadn't been, I think, for like 2 years beyond that, but like for the first, I'd say, decade after the college program, we would be, me and he's called David in the book. Me and David, we worked at Papa John's, and so we were just making money, and unfortunately not like saving it or investing it, or at least I wasn't. I guess maybe he was. But we would go to Disney like 2-3 times a year, maybe 4 some years. And, and it slowed down as you get older and things happen and people get married and all that. So maybe you go like once a year, but the last time I went was 2019, and like Disney had really, like, it used to be a place where, like, so they used to, one of the things they tell you, you're supposed to end every conversation with a guest, by saying, have a magical day. And it sounds hokey, but you just kind of believe it when you're there.
Mm.
And you do believe in magic, not in a literal sense, but in a sort of like, you're making people happy. You're giving children a sense of wonder. And that's magic. If there is such a thing, that's magic. And the last time I went in 2019, it just felt like they had just removed everything about it that made it special. And it was just so commercial. They had turned Disney Springs into, it became Disney Springs. Like they used to be called Downtown Disney, and they turned it into an outlet mall, which is literally what they were trying to do. They were trying to, because there's outlet malls in Lake Buena Vista, besides, right on the outskirts of Disney, and they were trying to put them out of business. So they're like, we're just going to make this an outlet mall. And it's just like, but now it's just a really fancy mall, and it doesn't feel like Disney anymore. And the parks are like that. And now the parks have Starbucks and all that. And it's just like, dude, this isn't, it's not there anymore, but I used to actually, on my Facebook page, it would say, I never listed New Orleans. I would always list Lake Buena Vista. And, about a year ago, I was like, I don't even think about going to Disney anymore. Like, I should just take this down. Like, it's not home to me anymore. It's pretty sad.
Yeah. So
I just brought everybody down.
Yeah. I'm gonna pivot to your other book, Lies We Tell, which is a totally different style. So your first one is autobiographical for a period of your life, but Lies We Tell is an anthology.
Yeah, it's lies we tell ourselves. It was it's so it's just like every short story that not every short story. There was some stuff that I was like, maybe I shouldn't include this, but uh, it might be like 30 short stories from the last 20 years. And after I did the first book, I was just like, why not? And I'm proud of that one too, although that one's not funny because for some reason, like when I write about myself, I'm able to like take darkness and make it funny. But like for some reason, when I'm trying to write about other people's lives, it's never that. Like I don't know why. Like there's one story that's called Dicks, that it's kind of funny. I might make it into a short film one day if I can ever sit down and write it. But yeah, all this is available on Amazon exclusively. It's if you don't know, you can self-publish your own book through Amazon KDP. You can't get it into like bookstores because they hate Amazon. But if you spent your whole life thinking like, oh, one day I'm going to sit down and write a book, but you're afraid like, oh, no one will publish it, go publish it yourself.
Yeah,
That's a great way to go about it. I agree. If you're not, if nobody else is going to believe in you, you believe in yourself.
Yeah, and the other thing is like it's also a lot easier. Like, I know people hate AI, but I do not approve of people using AI to write for them. But I was making a new edition of the books. It's one of the projects that I've had in the last 3 months, and I've been using Claude to edit it. It doesn't write for me, but I feed the manuscript in. I'm like, annotate any issues, like did I confuse a date? Is there a grammar? Did I misuse a word? So it went from me previously on the book, have the Earning My Ears, having 3 people, friends of mine, edit it for me, and still having, and I read this thing like 20 times before I published it, still had errors. To like now, like in a matter of 10 minutes, once the manuscript's done, I can find, and it found plenty of errors that I had to go in like, oh, okay. And there was some stuff that was like, oh, I think this is wrong. I'm like, no, that's how I wanted it. But it's so easy now to self-publish. Like you can literally do it. You can make the cover yourself in Canva. It's usually better to pay somebody so it doesn't look like garbage if you're not an artist. But you can do literally everything yourself now. But then you also have to promote it.
And so, lies we tell ourselves, when you read the description, it kind of goes all over the place. Do you have a favorite story from there? Because it says that sci-fi, fantasy, sex, all that kind of stuff. Do you have a favorite one in there that people should check out? Or just buy the whole book and then you decide.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have favorites. The sci-fi stuff and all that. I didn't put it in there if I didn't think it was good. But obviously, if you've ever written anything, there's going to be some things that you're like, oh, or anyone who's created any story. I'm sure y'all have podcasts where you're like, man, that episode, I wish more people listen to this episode. And then there's other episodes where you're like, yeah, people skipped it that week. All right,
yeah.
I'm cool.
Yeah, out of our 740, 10 of them are pretty good.
Well, I hope that I've y'all, we've talked about this. You know how to carry a conversation. That's the most people on podcasts can't, quite frankly. So, but my favorites are the ones in the back. Some of them are true stories, or more or less true. But I'd say my favorite, and I can't think the name of it, but there's one that's a Western. And I like it just because it tells a story of a young man whose father is murdered, and he goes from being a boy to being a man. And there's a transition throughout the story as he goes from being a boy to being a man and deciding what that means and what kind of person he wants to be. And for whatever reason, that one is kind of special to me of all the ones that are completely fictional. Obviously, I didn't live in the Old West. and my father, thankfully, is still alive and wasn't like gunned down over a poker game, or any other reason. But but yeah, I did raise the prices on them a little bit. So earning my years used to be 13. I was just like, you know what, like, I got to make some money off this. So okay. I honestly, like, if you don't have a dark sense of humor, I would say go for Lies We Tell Ourselves. And I am very proud of that book as well. If you do have a dark sense of humor and you're not easily offended, I'd absolutely recommend Earning My Ears all day. I really am proud of that book. And it's all true. I mean, some of the dialogue, yeah, I'm funnier now than I was when I was 22. So I did punch up the dialogue and all truth, but it's kind of hard to remember exactly what you said 20 years ago.
Yeah. You just want the context, right?
Yeah. Well, there were some things that I was able to remember. Oh, I said that to him. But that was, but it was never anything clever. I don't remember anything clever that I said, so, but I appreciate y'all having me on to talk about something that was very formative to me as a child. It was the first real IP that, I guess you would say like Alvin and the Chipmunks or something like that might have been the first like IP, but like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, that when I'll be 47 next month, and He-Man was the world. It was the master of the universe to kids at that age.
Yeah, we'll get into the movie. Before we get into that, I just want to say, if you go to santinoart.com, there is links to get your books and also to buy your prints. Or you can go on to amazon.com and just type in the titles of the books or your name, Adam Santino, and they will pop up. You can follow you on Instagram, Facebook. Are you on Threads or Blue Sky or anything?
No, I'm old. I'm barely able to keep up on what I'm on. Right, I just started a Substack, and I'm enjoying Substack, but like, it's one more thing. And I'd like every time Instagram's like, you should look at Threads. I'm like, no, I shouldn't, and no one should. If I want this, I have X. But I do appreciate y'all having me on and allowing me to promote it. And yeah, if you want to find links to my stuff, including the Instagram and all that, that's all on the website. There's a link to the Facebook page, the Instagram, like all that good stuff's there.
Wonderful. Fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Adam, how we do this on our show is we recommend the film or not, then we'll play the trailer. But we just pause because we put in the trailer for editing. And then we spoil.
Don't tell them how we do it.
and then we spoil the film. So did I read that Brad had to bounce? I didn't see that part.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so
he'll probably come back in about.
I'm here.
Come back. Yep,
well. Oh, shut up! He's here. Oh yeah, glad you're back. The most important cog in the wheel. Oh yeah, great that you're here.
Can't do the show without me.
Yeah. So, Zach, do you recommend Masters of the Universe?
I do. I did not grow up a Masters of the Universe fan, so I walked in completely blank. I was like, I have no idea what I'm getting into. I walked out very charmed. It's perfectly fun. It's a lot of fun. It had no business being this good, and it was really fun. So I enjoyed it. I really do recommend. If people need a good watch to kick back to for like an escapist sci-fi fantasy fare, like this is certainly right up your alley.
Did we lose Brad again, or is it just people talking in the background?
I'm still here.
Brad, do you recommend Masters of the Universe?
I didn't realize you could hear all that because it seemed pretty quiet to me, but.
Oh, I could. And they said, suck my donkey dick? What was that about?
They were trying to get me out of the room.
To suck a donkey dick?
They don't want me here, even though it's my menu.
I was about to be very proud of you.
Oh, shit. Not again. Gotta finish.
I thought it was a blast. I've seen it 3 times already. And, I didn't like grow up with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe too much. But I as an 80s kid, like I feel like it's my duty to enjoy it. And I was like, I'll go see this thing, and yeah, the story's nothing, but it's still like a fun time at the movies, so I'm in.
Adam, do you recommend, as a Master of the Universe fan, to see the new film?
This is the only Jared Leto movie worth seeing, and it deserves your money. You should go right now. Don't let this movie die on the vine. It is by the director of Bumblebee, which was also a criminally underrated
100%.
movie that maybe came along
Agreed.
too late.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I had a lot of fun watching this film. I dug the soundtrack a lot. I love the score. Yeah, everything was just really fun. And before I play the trailer, I always like to say it's okay to go to movies and just have fun. And Masters of the Universe is definitely fun. Here's the trailer for Masters of the Universe.
Adam, when you hold the magic sword, what do you say?
By the power of Grayskull.
Go on. Now you're ready.
It seems the prodigal prince has returned. I am a devil, but I mean to be a god.
What am I supposed to do?
You are he who will restore peace to Eternia.
Skeletor took my family, and he destroyed our world. I'm gonna fight for it. Mechanic. And Ram Man.
Hell yeah!
And you, Fisto! Mr. Allen! It's Adam, dude.
Hey, put your neck away. Let me show you what real power looks like.
Our time for talk is over.
Can you come help me with this?
It is quite heavy, so if you
Oh,
could just...
oh my god, yeah.
Masters of the Universe takes place on a faraway land, and Skeletor is. I loved the animation of Skeletor's face. I always loved that his jaw kept falling, and I don't know. There's something about it that was just cool. Anyways, Adam is like a weakling, and his father is, pissed at him because he's not tough with Idris Elba. And when Skeletor attacks and starts getting after Eternia, he is sent to Earth. And while he's at Earth, he spends his days looking for his sword. And when he finds it, he goes back to get rid of the scourge that is Skeletor. That's just a brief outline of the film. I grew up a He-Man fan too, but we grew up poor. So we only had He-Man. And I don't even remember his name. Adam, you might be able to help me with this. But he was a skunk, and they dipped the action figure like in patchouli.
It was Stinkor.
Stinkor, and it was awful. I still actually, my mom has this wooden toy box, and he's still in it, and our toy box still smells like patchouli because of it. But yeah, we had two of those guys, because I'm guessing he was, the one that you got at Walgreens for 99 cents after a year or so.
I think I've seen the re-release on shelves. I didn't even know he smelled. I have to go check.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate. I had a lot of He-Man figures. I didn't have all of them or anything like that, but they used to make cases for toys back when toys were still a thing for children. And we had this like He-Man vinyl plastic case.
Yes.
Where you could like line them up, and the outside was like a print of a facade of Castle Grayskull. but that was right before I think Hordak's Horde was like the third wave, I want to say. But I don't know if I ever had Stinkor. I know I had Moss Man.
Yeah, and why the movie works so well too, I think, is one of the things that have really come out of the last few years of these IP products is they accept that's how they look. I remember in the X-Men in the 2000s, they all had to wear black leather. Now everyone says, you know what? Mysterio looks goofy, but we're going to put him on film and make him look cool. And I felt that watching this. They felt pretty close to how they looked in the cartoon. And I thought that really helped tell the story that we were watching.
I mostly agree. I think because almost all the costumes were pretty accurate, almost entirely. The two exceptions, I mean, Skeletor a little bit. They definitely took some liberties with from the neck down with Skeletor's design. Even though they kept the feet, they kept like the weird like duck feet. But He-Man and Teela really worked. Her costume, even though it was really worked. I'd say the one costume choice that I hated, and it's interesting, was the He-Man costume because it's very it's spiritual. Well, it's theoretically it's not. I don't. It's an homage. That's the best way to put it. It's an homage. They even brought back a version of the Iron Cross because for a long time they got rid of it and they were using the battle armor H instead of the Iron Cross because they're like, oh, this is going to remind you of people you do not see. Even though that's not necessarily what the Iron Cross means, and I like that they brought a version of it back. But oddly, like the Canon Films costume, which is a complete redesign. It looks nothing like the original He-Man costume, but I feel like that one spiritually felt more authentic. Like this one, it looked to me, the one costume that didn't work. It felt like a Spirit Halloween costume. And, you get over it. The movie's fun. It's not like it's like, oh, this sucks. And, but if they hopefully make a sequel, which I sadly don't think is going to happen, but if they hopefully make a sequel, I'd love for them to do a redesign of that costume because it really did bug me as I was watching it.
Yeah, I think the only saving grace for a sequel, because I set it up, is it's Amazon who technically owns it. So there could be a chance where they go, when it gets to streaming and it does really well, they'll say, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and give it another shot. But, the movie, though, the guy who plays Adam, I have no idea who he is, but he's really good in it. He's funny. His little job as an HR guy had some great little comedic moments.
But you don't know who he is?
What's up?
You said you don't know who he is?
Yeah, who is he?
The guy from Bottoms, dude.
Oh,
Jeff?
That's right. I didn't even remember.
I was like, you love that movie. How'd you miss that?
I didn't even think about it, but now that you say that, it's totally him.
Yeah.
But you're right. Even Skeletor, it doesn't sound like Jared Leto, and it isn't the emo Jared Leto. So I think that's why I totally got on board with him as Skeletor. Because when the casting happened, I wasn't 100% sold.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people have said this. Like, he does a great job, so it's not a complaint. But like when Frank Langella played Skeletor, you could there's a reason why it was Frank Langella. This it does feel a little bit because obviously it's a voice acting position. Like he's not a real person. It's not him in the costume or in a costume with CGI. It's so different from Jared Leto that there is a part. It doesn't matter, but it is like, well, then why did they choose him specifically? They could have gotten any voice actor to do this. But that's not a complaint. It's just, it's interesting that they went that way, especially with look, whether you liked the Tron Ares or Morbius. I didn't see Morbius,
bro,
he's had a string of bombs, so it was a really weird choice to go with Jared Leto because it's just like, oh, the guy that his movie bombed twice in a row. And I'm talking about Morbius because they put it back in theaters and it bombed again.
Look, I wrote this in my letterboxd without trying to be too hyperbolic on it because I'm sure there's a larger discussion at hand. But I wrote down my review was this movie had no business being as good as it was, and Jared Leto had no business giving his best performance in a movie ever in the movie. Like it was kind of it took me aback how well he was getting the comic timing down of Skeletor, because it's one thing to play that villain, it's another thing to be doing some of the comic timing that Skeletor has in the movie. And I had to objectively step aside from that and go like, look, I don't like Leto at all, but I can't ignore that he is very good at what he is doing in that performance, despite the fact that I can't stand him. So it was kind of interesting. And I do think it works well in tandem with Alison Brie in the movie too, because like they worked off of each other pretty darn well, all things considered.
Yeah, and like I said, the score, I love it. Has that kind of electronic 80s pulsing vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
The action scenes were really cool. Specifically, I love the final battle between He-Man and Skeletor. It was kind of shot in this really cool zoom in, zoom out as they're punching each other way. And I think, to your point, Adam, too, the director from Bumblebee, he knows how to make things fun. And, when
he actually loves these properties. I think that's kind of why.
Yeah.
Because when he did Bumblebee, it was actually, he was like, no, we're not doing the Michael Bay weirdly inner muscle look. We're going to do proper, these are going to look like the Transformers you love. And unfortunately, like this movie, it might have been a little too late.
Yeah, Bumblebee really should have been the first Transformer movie, because it's the unsung hero of that franchise. I mean, if there's any ones that are really that great, and this movie too, it deserved a bigger audience. And I don't know if it's because it's so niche that it struggled, or the marketing. Really my only complaint is sometimes the CGI world looked a little too fake to me. I wanted Castle Grayskull to be a little more impressive, but overall it was a lot of fun. And also too, I kept on hoping that they would embrace the meme of Skeletor, the part where the whole building falls on everyone and Skeletor's the only one left. I really wanted him to say, "Until we meet again," and runs away. But that did not happen.
I feel like I can speak a little bit to like why this movie failed, because I hadn't planned on seeing it, honestly. I think there's a bunch of different things that affected it. So I mean, and I think it's mostly little things, but so I'm not a fan of race swaps at all, but weirdly, like seeing it, I do want to point out Idris Elba is arguably, if not the best thing in the movie, he's one of the best things in the movie.
Oh yeah.
And I do want to point that out specifically because, like, when they race swapped Heimdall and Thor, there's no reason for him to be Idris Elba. He didn't really add anything to that. This, I felt like, was a character that he actually understood. Maybe it's the being a father thing. Although I do feel you also have to kind of be a Masters fan to, like, because when it's like, oh, Tila's her dad, and it's like, there's part of that story that's not being explained that I understand. It's not, Tila's not his biological daughter. She's actually Fisto's biological daughter. But not from the fisting. But there was a lot of things. And one of the things I hated, because y'all keep mentioning the humor, and some of the humor I thought really worked in this movie, but like right before the movie came out, they put out that extended scene where Skeletor is laughing, and then he breaks the fourth wall and goes, "Well, when I stop laughing, blah blah blah." And I'm just like, dude, what is this? Like, because I do feel one of the big flaws with this movie, and again, I enjoy the movie. I absolutely think you should go see it if you haven't. Which, I mean, this is a spoiler thing, so hopefully you've seen it. But is like the humor every time they break the fourth wall. I want to say 3 times. There's a time at the end, which is doing the meme from the original cartoon where everybody's like got their fists on their hips and they're laughing.
Yeah.
and the Skeletor thing, and I'm just like, dude, you have to. He-Man's a silly concept. We know that. You can't take it too seriously, but you do have to give it a certain amount of seriousness. One of the things I hated was like, because he kept talking about Ram Man throughout the first third of the movie, and there's no point in where I go, Ram Man, silly, until they have that scene where he meets Ram Man. He's like, well, you're Ram Man, and they're like, Ram Man. And I'm like, dude,
Okay.
now you've made it silly for me. Now every time I hear Ram Man, I'm like, oh, yeah, his name's Ram Man. That doesn't, like it.
Yeah.
I really wish they, and the other thing is this movie is way too long. Well, not way too long, but probably about 20 minutes too long.
I agree with that for sure.
Agreed, yeah.
I think if you cut out the fourth wall breaking scenes, which add nothing, the Skeletor laughing thing added nothing. It broke the tension of like this dude just like, King Randor's toast. Like, like Eternia is now being taken over by one of the biggest forces of evil in the universe. And now you're breaking the tension to laugh. Like if you cut that stuff, I think this movie jumps up like a solid notch from an already good movie, but like a movie that like just a little more leanness and just a hint of more seriousness. But
yeah, I had a weird split reaction to that stuff you're bringing up on Skeletor stuff, because I'm like, on the one hand, there's a jokey part of me that really likes that scene, but yes, on the overall end, if I'm looking at it this as an editor, it's not strictly required. Like I had to separate him out in my brain because I'm like, yeah, this is filler. This is unnecessary. Do I like it out of context? Yeah. But like, it's definitely not something that needed to like permeate the entirety of the film unless you were going to make it a story element, I guess.
Again, I'm not saying that it shouldn't have humor because it should, right. But it just,
yeah.
I just think it went over the top. And there's actually, did any of y'all catch? So at the end of the movie, there's those scenes where it's not clear whether it's all in Adam's head or whether it's magic, but they go back to Earth and they're sort of living through Adam's life as if like he's nuts. And then there's a scene where he's in the HR chick's office and Skeletor comes in, and there was a meme where they combined Office Space with Skeletor.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember this?
Yes.
Where it's the Gary Cole character, who's one of my favorite actors. And they made a meme of it where like it was Skeletor instead of Gary Cole. And I mean, unless I'm just like nuts and I'm just imagining this wrong, I think this was like a direct reference to that. And I thought like it's clever, it's just funny enough, and it's a reference, but like it doesn't. I don't stop and go like, oh, that's Office Space. I'm just like, oh, huh, but it flows with the scene as opposed to halting the scene. Like, like they do with those fourth wall breaking jokes. And that's just, again, does not ruin the movie. Great movie.
No, I mean, I think you're bringing up fair points because, the stuff that does work, I think Dolph Lundgren's cameo was great.
Mm-hmm.
Because he actually added some pathos to the character. And that it plays a little later in the film, too, I thought was really cool. Not everything is a hit, and I agree with you. I do think it's too long. I remember my wife actually loved the movie, but I told her, I said, just be aware that it's a 2.5 hour long He-Man movie, so buckle up. And only a couple times I felt that it kind of got dragged down by its weight. But overall, I think you've summed it up pretty well. And I mean, I agree. I just, I like the Skeletor like that, but I can see, maybe it didn't always work. The Fisto stuff always made me laugh. And, I always there is a lot of kind of sexual innuendo humor in this movie too. Which is
they went
great.
a little hard for that. And I guess like the bottom line is like, because in my mind, all these things, so like we met at Denver Comic-Con, and one thing that I have a problem with a lot of comic conventions is there's a lot more adult themed stuff encroaching on an area where like people should be bringing their children. I mean, I'm not saying that this, there was one joke what was it Fisto said, like Ram Man give them head or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Like up until then, I'm like, it's Fisto, like it's the meme, like it's funny. But that one, I was like, I mean, I guess kids would like. I feel like with the internet now, kids get everything, whereas they wouldn't have like when we were children. But, but then on the other hand, like, are people bringing their kids, or is this like, hey, this movie's for like weird 46-year-old men sitting in New Orleans talking into a microphone? Like, is that just the acceptance?
I think both can be true, because I definitely took my kid, and he just loved it because it was just, basically wall-to-wall action.
And he loves fisting.
Yeah, and he really loved the fisting, which is really weird. So I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, I hope they continue the world. We shall see. Before we get out of here, Adam, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, out of your Sunday, to hang out with the Real Nerds. We really appreciate it.
Thank y'all. And I want to apologize on the air. The last time I was on your show, I think I called y'all the Real Film Nerds. And I was like, that's not their names.
That's all right. We've been called worse. So you can find Adam at adamsantinoart.com. You can also find his books on Amazon. Just type in his name, Adam Santino, and make sure you order them from there. You can order prints from his website as well. Adam, thank you so much for being a part of our show. Thanks for reaching out. You are always welcome.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah, and have a great night. We appreciate it.
Y'all too.
Well, a real nerd knows who shot. A real nerd can follow the plot. And a real nerd will give it all they got. Lights, camera, action. Real nerds.
Thanks for listening to Real Nerds Podcast, a Nebulous Visions production. Stream or download episodes, read articles at realnerdspodcast.com. Stream us on Apple or Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Follow us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. Twitter and Instagram, @Real Nerds. Watch us on YouTube, Real Nerds Podcast. Email us at realnerds@gmail.com. Call us at 720-6nerds5. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill, Mike at Plan 9 Studios, and Bolognium for all of our groovy theme songs. And that's how you fucking do it.